Well, hey everybody, thank you again so much with your help with the PSAT 8-9. Just a couple of things that I want to highlight with, especially if you're in a standard time room and in the field house with a large number of test takers. If you need coffee in your veins, on the 13th, there'll be coffee in the staff caf. Again, standard time materials will already be in the field house, so you do not need to pick anything up. If you're watching this and supporting special services, your materials are up in room 2200. And all people helping with a PSAT 8-9 and special services need to report to 2200 to sign something for Allison. If you're helping out in the field house, 8 to 8:15, 8:15 at the latest, as you know, kids will start to trickle and arrive around that 8:15 mark. And we'll talk a little bit about check-in just a second. All of you will sign the SAT testing staff agreement, which just basically says you haven't had access to materials and you don't have a ninth grader, taking this test. So you can check room supervisor or proctor, just print and sign your name before testing. So students can enter the testing room anytime as long as you have not started the directions for the test. So if you're still doing pre-admin tasks, they can still come in late. You may not know a lot of these students. That is fine. They technically don't need their ID. We can look them up in PowerSchool if you suspect something's fishy, but it's the PSAT 8-9. It's not the college reportable entrance exam in the SAT. So I am fine with them saying, my name's Andy Young. You look at the list, we cross them off, and they go find their seat. Check-in will be fast. It will literally just be, okay, Young, great, your seat 222, and you're gonna direct them down the field house. There's going to be several rows, I think 22 maybe to be exact, and there'll be tall signs at the end of each row. And at the end of each row, it will literally say which seat numbers are associated with that. And so they'll find their kind of column or row, and then they'll walk down there and find their answer sheet and seat that's specific to them. All of the answer sheets have their pre-ID labels. The cell phones and other devices, please have everything powered down. We are not collecting anything, but nothing should be physically on them. It should be under their desk and off, not on vibrate. They shouldn't have anything during their breaks. iWatches, anything that can, Apple Watches, anything that can communicate needs to come off physically and should be powered down. Students may need help finding their seat location. Again, they're going to look their seat number, find their row, and walk down and find their answer label. Speaking of answer sheets and labels, there are only 8 fields, so the pre-admin tasks shouldn't take that long. The one thing that I really want to highlight again on their pre-ID label is that they are bubbling in their state ID number, not their Vernon Hills school ID, the 6-digit number. It is a 9-digit number that they do not know. That should be in the upper left-hand corner of their ID label. And students, if for some reason there's a confusion, there's a cheat sheet in the master doc that we've shared with you electronically if you need to look something up. The only reason a student would get a new answer sheet is if their name is incorrect. So again, students are still bubbling everything essentially that is on their label. We obviously have students who are using different pronouns or different names and maybe what is on their label or what they may use in class. And so my recommendation for them, simply because of what happens and the difficulties with College Board over the next couple of years, is it is easy for us, if there's a legal name change, to update information with College Board. But what becomes tricky is if we start submitting test materials that have different names than what the state of Illinois has shared with College Board. It messes up their scores, and it especially gets messy as we approach SAT and AP. So please, our recommendation for the student right now would be to go with the name that is on their birth certificate and the name that is on their label. If something else comes up with this, please let me know or let Suzanne know, who will be there to help start the test, and we'll figure it out. There's no student search. There's no other options. Students should only do these 8 fields, and it will be very clear for the person reading what needs to happen. On the back of the answer sheet, there are 4 pieces that, really 5, that students will have to fill out. Their form code and their test ID. That's right over here on the back of their test booklet. Their serial number, item C, is actually on the front of their test booklet, and their testing room code Suzanne will give to you all to share with them. That's just so if there's an irregularity in another room, it won't slow down their test scores. The certification statement as well, they will print and sign their name. That's also kind of the 5th piece. All of these pieces need to be done in order to score their exam. So again, form code and test ID, they almost look fake. They're on the back of the manual or the test booklet, if you will. The serial number is on the front of their individual test booklet, and then the room code we will give you. And don't forget to have students make sure that they all do the certification statement. On the back of their test booklet, students can write their name, their school code, and their room code on the back as well, in case we need to find a booklet after testing. Distributing test manuals. So several of you will test, this should really say booklets, but the test booklets, several of you will help distribute those. We're going to still do the serpentine pattern, so up and down the rows. If a student is absent, meaning, you walk up to the 5th desk in that long row and there's no one there, I still want you, Suzanne and I still want you to set a test booklet on that test or on that desk, because it will help with us to figure out which students had which serial numbers. We are not going to fill out a seating chart that has every serial number listed. We will know based on which rows have which serial numbers where a student was sitting. We've obviously assigned seats and desks, but we're not going to have you each walk around and literally write down the serial number. So what will allow us to be able to check backwards if College Board has any questions for us is that you will make the snaking pattern, and you'll have specific serial numbers and booklets for each row. And if a student is absent, please still set the manual down on that student's absent seat. We will use that for their makeup exam in a couple weeks. Breaks. There are 2 restrooms students can use for the field house. They can go to the locker room. I would say students sitting on the east side of the field house can go to the locker room. Students sitting on the west part of the field house can go to the foyer restrooms. Students that need to use the restroom or grab a sip of water, they're the only ones that should leave. Students who just want to get up and walk around, they should not do that. They can stand up and stretch, but I would not, with a room of 300, let everyone just kind of leave to go to the restroom all at once. That will take a while to get them back into the room. If you have any irregularities, you just need to let Suzanne, myself, know, and we will come and help document those. Really, the most important thing you can do at the time of the irregularity is to basically make it go away as fast as possible in the least disruptive manner. So you want to address the situation, you want to document it very well, meaning what you said to the student, what their response was, how long it lasted, and what your interaction was. And then after the fact, we can go back and fill out the form. So if it's a cell phone ringing, you walk over to me, you say, hey, can you get that off as soon as possible? They obviously feel bad. Hopefully they turn it off. The cell phone rang twice for 10 seconds and the student turned it off, put it back under their desk, and that was the end of it. If sometimes we see students who have bubbled after the fact, or they do it multiple times or whatever, address it, make sure it's clear that they're aware of what you saw, or that you saw something was filled in earlier that wasn't. Whatever is happening, document, note the duration, note when and where, and we will deal with it in the irregularity report afterwards. Please don't call College Board yourself. I will be the one to call them if we have any questions. If there is a fire alarm, just get the children out of the building safely. You will use the doors that are in the field house to exit the field house. So follow normal fire alarm procedures. We will bring an attendance sheet to you to make sure that all of our students are accounted for. After testing, we're just missing by individual rooms. So when the field house is done, or if you're in an accommodated room, you can leave when your room is done. You will help Suzanne kind of neatly organize materials into some boxes that we'll have in the field house if that's where you're at, and then we will bring them down on a cart back to the main office area. I think it probably makes sense to dismiss by a few rows at a time so there's not chaos as everyone leaves. And again, just make sure that you have signed that the staff testing agreement. That would be great. Again, you'll have the master down in your room, which will be Suzanne. So if you have any questions, just ask and let us know if you need anything prior to that. Thank you again so much for your help on this day.